Hello, friends. Today we're going to talk about your interest pieces and your digital projects. Forgive my squinting. I'm outside because it's a beautiful day and I'm trying to enjoy the weather a little bit as we prepare for the semester. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just describe to you a bit of what I'm intending for you to learn and how I intend you to complete these two assignments. The first is the interest pieces. There's 3 of these due throughout the semester. And the topic for each of them can come from the textbook, it can come from Bible reading, from any of the videos or the things I've asked you to explore on Canvas. And if you're not sure that the topic you've chosen is one that you should write on, or if you're not even sure how to cover a topic, please contact me because I want to help you get into this. The rubric for the assignment is on the assignment page in Canvas, so I'm not going to go over every single detail about what I'm looking for, but in general, what I want you to do is choose a topic that relates to what we're studying, right? So we are reading the Bible, so a topic that comes from the Bible would be good. We're reading 2 textbooks. Topics that come from one of those textbooks would be good. I'm asking you to view all sorts of things on the internet, and any of those things that are brought up, especially in those videos, in those websites, in those infographics, those would be very good for you to research a little bit and just talk about, okay? Now, the idea then would be some content that I want you to describe your interest in the topic and tell me why you're interested in it. Tell me what interests you, what makes it a compelling thing to your mind and your life experience. And I also want you to propose some original questions or ideas or areas for further study. So what I mean by that is if you're talking about salvation, because you're interested in why Christians think they need saved, that's a good question to ask. So you're going to talk a little bit about that, and then you may talk about how the book talks about salvation, about how some of the passages that you've read speak to salvation. And then you might put some questions forward to say, how do different denominations, how do different Christians think about salvation? Are there different experiences or expectations or beliefs about salvation? Now, here's the hint. The answer to that question is yes. And you don't need to do that further research, but what I need you to show me is that you're thinking about how does this relate to Christian documents, so the Bible, other texts. How does it relate to Christian people, to Christian history, and to the development of that faith? So that would be one way that content would show me. It has to be formatted in accordance with the syllabus. 2 to 3 pages, that's all I need. I don't need a 12-page document. I don't need a 200-page tome. I just need 2 to 3 pages. If it's not 2 pages, you're going to be penalized for that. If it's more than 3 pages, I'm just going to stop reading and grade it on what I've read, and you'll be penalized for that. So just give me 2 to 3 pages, 2 full pages, not a page and a half, 2 full pages, and just 2 to 3 pages, okay? If you have trouble with that, just let me know. Tell me that you're working on it. We'll work something out. But then you also need to be using Times New Roman or Calibri font, 12 points, type double spaced, you know the drill. It's simple, 1-inch margins. Don't try to cheat on any of these things. It's just not worth it. Don't spend your time trying to get around the rules. Spend your time doing the research and writing, and you'll actually spend less time on the assignment. Spelling and grammar matter. Also, if I can't read or understand what I'm trying to read because of the spelling or because of the poor grammar, you'll lose points for that as well. So be sure that you're spell checking, that you're having friends read your paper and help you if you have confusing sentence structures and things like that. All right? Now, it's going to be automatically checked for plagiarism when it's submitted on Canvas, and I will check it additionally. Remember that any material that's not original to you must be cited. You must give credits to the original source, the original authors. In other words, there is a no tolerance policy for plagiarism. It's a 0. This is a simple thing. If you use somebody's idea, just give them credit for it. That's all. I don't want somebody else's ideas. I want your ideas. And I want to know what you think when someone else says something. That's why it's so important, because if someone else says something that you think is really good, just tell me who said it, and then tell me why you think it's so good, because then I get to your ideas. That's part of the point of college work, is you're trying to get to the depth and breadth of who you are as a thinker. I think I've talked about all of the main pieces important to your interest pieces. If you have any questions, please get in touch with me. Remember that this first one is going to be due on September the 19th, so it's a pretty quick turnaround. That's because I want to be able to grade one and give you some feedback so you can do better on the other two if you have some problems on the first one. Remember also that any of the others turned in before the deadline will get extra credit. Particularly if turned in September, you're going to get much more extra credit. And if turned in October, you're still going to get some extra credit. I want to encourage you to do these early. You can take till the end of the semester, and that's fine, but I want to encourage you to be doing these so you're not piling everything up at the end of the semester. Now then, on to your digital project. Now this is your chance to spread your creative wings. I'm not giving you a page length because you may not use any pages. I'm not giving you a word type because you may be using all sorts of different media for this. So what I want you to do is choose something that you've learned in this course. You might have already talked about it in one of your interest pieces, but you're welcome to choose something else as well. And I want you to create a digital project that communicates what you've learned to 21st century audiences. In other words, something a little more simply, I want you to create something that you'd look at on the internet that explains something from this course, okay? Something that you would spend some time on. So, what might that be? I'm going to be showing you throughout the semester certain things that I think are good explanations of how you can use digital resources to communicate some of the details and the data that we talk about. So, you can make an infographic, a static image that uses numbers and words to explain the importance of certain things. You can make a video on Movely, on Powtoon. You can make your own YouTube video. You can use documents or websites like Canva, not Canvas, but Canva, to create some images, some designs, maybe some media, some retail, some marketing kind of stuff. That would be very cool. You can do a blog for one of the people that we talk about, or that perhaps you as a writer for the Huffington Post write an article on one of the topics that we discuss. In other words, I want you to create something that is interesting to you. So I'm going to show you different things that I think potentially might be interesting. As far as how that's going to be graded, the rubric again is also on Canvas under the assignment. Now remember, what's important about this is the annotated. Now what I mean by that is, so if you create a movie that tells me about, let's say Christology, since we've already talked about salvation, what I want you to do then is turn in a piece of paper with just a bibliography that tells me this is the source that I used to get this information, and here's why this is important, okay? So it's going to be a brief, it's not going to be a super long paper, just enough information to tell me where you got it in a short paragraph on why it's important. 3 or 4 sentences is plenty on that, alright? So you must cite all your sources using the Chicago format, which is found in Canvas. That's the same for your interest pieces as well, okay? Chicago is just a basic style that is used in the humanities, especially in areas like religion. This needs to be turned in on November the 7th. And I'm going to be asking questions like, did you create a style of piece that reflects the unique media of today? Just as something like the printing press was unique to the Reformation. So we're going to be talking at some point about the Reformers and about the importance of that. And so media is going to play a big role. Again, I'm going to be curious about the content. Did you try to make it relevant? Your reflection, your bibliography with the paragraphs on the content. Is that faithful to the story and the theme that you're talking about? And then also timeliness, presentation, and source citation. These things all matter very much, okay? So check out those rubrics. Let me know if you have any questions on them. And if you don't feel like you're a creative person, don't let this be daunting, okay? This isn't an idea that you need to be the best artist. The idea is to realize that you're going to be communicating things in your life in all sorts of different ways. So maybe you want to make a Twitter profile for one of these people, or make a Snap story for one of these people, make a Facebook page for them. Maybe it's about trying to realize that you can learn better if you try to view these topics, these stories, through other lenses. So I want you to tell me one of those stories. It could be just you could just retell a biblical story as a modern story with modern media, and that would be a wonderful way to fulfill this assignment, because I think it's going to help you learn it better, and it might help your peers learn it better as well. Again, let me know if you have any questions. I'm glad to help. And please, 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 please don't wait until the end of the semester to work on this. It's going to be very important to get started early, because if you get started on it and you have some questions, we can work together to make it what you want it to be. If not, if you wait until the end, there's not much you can do in a condensed week to try to make this work. Blessings to you as you read and watch this week. Thanks for taking the time, and I look forward to talking with you soon. Take care.